What up, guys? It's your man Elite, and welcome back to the Elite channel. Well, unfortunately, I got bad news for you again today. The big goofy bird is back on these internet streets, and she is trying to cope with her losses. But first, here's a quick commercial from TIEGE HANLEY, guys.
Look at him bouncing on those balls. TIEGE HANLEY, we know what makes a high-value man, and that's high-value skincare. High-value skincare for high-value men.
Click on the link in the description to get some TIEGE HANLEY products today. Now let's get it. That's right, it's Tia Mowry, and she's out here thirst trapping. She's telling a bunch of lies, and most of all, she's trying to deal with all of the losses she's taken. And she's taken a lot of losses in the last couple of years, of course, because of her own stupidity, but you can't tell her that. So she been out here posting on Instagram again, these multiple photo posts where she's trying to show in a proof of life kind of situation how she's okay. And I get it, because you gotta do whatever you gotta do to make yourself feel better. So on this first one, she says, "They told me I wasn't valuable anymore because I'm 46 and divorced." Yes, ma'am, that's true. Now, nobody's saying that you're not valuable as a person, maybe as an actor, maybe in your career or whatever. Nobody's saying that. But you're 46-year-old and divorced, which means you're back out on the dating market, and the dating market judges you differently. Women need to understand, if you're a divorcee and you're up in your years, men on the dating market are not going to value you. They don't want you, because men at your age or older can get younger women than you. You're just not hot anymore. So you gotta face the facts. And then she says, "For a long time, I believed my value came from being in a relationship, being chosen, being picked, that somehow love from someone else defined who I was." Well, yeah, everyone is defined by their relationships. If you were a real adult, you would know that, but you're a child trying to cope, so you're just not understanding. Everyone has relationships with family, with friends, with the person they're with romantically. Now, if you're a person who deals with your friends in a way that's shady, and you screw over them, and you're a person who deals with your family in ways that's janky, that you don't have a good relationship with them, like you and your sister, your twin sister. And if you deal with a person in your life who's romantically involved with you in a way that's shady and stupid, like you did with your ex-husband, yeah, you're a shit person. And that reflects on you, and that does define you. It happens with everyone. So grow up. And then she says, "Divorce forced me to ask, what does Tia want?" When you've been with someone for over 20 years, it's easy to forget who you are outside of that relationship. I just don't understand this coming from a person who's always had their own identity and their own separate career outside of who their husband was. You were the one who's famous, not Corey Hardrick, so you've always been defined outside of the relationship. So what are you talking about? And in addition to that, that's incredibly selfish. When you're in a relationship and a marriage, you have kids to care for, you have a man to care for. It's no longer about you. It's about doing what's best for your family unit. But you chose to seek validation on the internet instead of your family. And then she says, "I realized how much of my worth I tied to being validated by a man. Society teaches us that. From fairy tales to tradition, we're told we're only valuable when someone picks us." Well, yeah, society values things like tradition, legacy, family. And when you're out here running wild and doing whatever you want to do, you're not creating any kind of tradition, and much less any kind of legacy. You're just a big old goofy bird out here on social media trying to get attention. Then she says, after my divorce, I saw how people, especially toxic, misogynistic men, looked down on me as if I wasn't valuable anymore. Because I have kids, because I'm not in my 20s, because I'm divorced. That narrative, it's cruel and it's false. Well, although it may be cruel from your perspective, it's definitely not false. You have kids, and a man who would date you would have to deal with the emotional fallout from your divorce and the effect it has on your children. And also, they would have to deal with the father of your children. So it's a liability. And it's not just the fact that you're not in your 20s anymore. It's the fact that a man that you would want could probably get a woman in her 20s who doesn't have the emotional baggage that you have. And lastly, it's not just the fact that you're divorced. It's the way you handled your divorce so publicly and the way you defamed your ex-husband all over social media. Any man who would date you would know that you have the propensity to do this all over again. So what man in his right mind would be signing up for that? And then she says, but I had to unlearn that. I am not less than because I'm single. I'm not damaged because I'm divorced. And I am not unworthy because I'm a mom. Yeah, as far as your career, as far as general life, as far as being a person, that is not true. But in the dating market, at 47 years old, that is absolutely the fact. And this is what feminism has done to women. It has taught them to ignore reality when it comes to the dating market. And then she says, yes, I want love, but I'm no longer chasing it to fill a void. I'm choosing me first because that's where my peace lives. You know, this is just cope. First, she uses the word want. We all know that women need love. They need relationships. They need someone to want and need them. And any true woman who's in her true femininity knows this and admits it. It's interesting also that she chose to use the words to fill a void. She chose to get rid of her stable family and a husband who treats her well and created a void by doing that. And then she chose now to fill that void with the seeking of approval from people on the internet whom she doesn't even know. It's just weird. And then she says, I've done the work, I've cried, I've healed. I don't even have to read the rest of this. This is just a lie. This is bullcrap. You haven't. You haven't done the work. Because the real work would have been staying in your marriage and making it work with your husband. Because that's the only work that really matters and counts. Especially when you had a man like Corey Hardrick who treated you well. This is just you trying to play the victim. And obviously you haven't healed. Because you're on the internet for the whole world to see. You're thirst trapping. You're seeking approval. And you're still talking about your divorce and slandering your ex-husband. Your divorce was 2 years ago. Get over it already. This does not look like healing. It's giving unhealed bitterness. And then she says, so let's change the narrative. No, ma'am, we're not changing the narrative. We're not doing that. The fact that you've made your marriage and your divorce so public means that we know what you've done and when you've done it. And we know that this situation which you're trying to play the victim in and that you've been so injured and you're healing, it's all because of you. So let's take a little trip down memory lane and remember how we got here. Remember this?
I can't even visualize myself without Corey.
You know, my marriage was a success. Yeah. And at the end, there's a graduation.
Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this big goofy bird up on Instagram posting all this stuff acting like she's the victim. And oh yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, this is your man, Elite, and I am out.